So I was watching the Heat game last night, and out of nowhere, I get the most random notification that I ever got, except for today, I guess, where I got a notification saying that the Dolphins signed Justin Houston, which would have been great 5 years ago, but it is what it is. I rest my case. But anyways, we get the Bleacher Report notification, and we get the tweet from Shams basically saying that Ja Morant tore his labrum and will miss the rest of the regular season. Now, at first, I'm thinking, did he try to do some crazy poster and land awkwardly like we've seen? But no, like the Grizzlies didn't even play yesterday. It was in practice, right? Which is very unfortunate because Ja was hooping to start the season. He was averaging like 25 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, doing it all. But most impressively, he was carrying that previously god-awful Memphis Grizzlies team, which before Ja got there was terrible, right? And I think with Ja, they won like 6 out of the 9 games he played. But that's only good enough to get them into 13th of the Western Conference at 13-23, which is 4 games back of even a play-in spot behind some really good teams like the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Well, I shouldn't say really good, but behind some capable teams like the Warriors and the Lakers, right? So that being said, it's pretty clear to say that this season for the Memphis Grizzlies is over. It's a wasted season. It's a wash. They need to punt the season to the moon because they're not going anywhere, right? So that brings me to the point of this video, which is Marcus Smart. Now, why would the Grizzlies want to trade Marcus Smart? Maybe just because the season is over. They decided they don't like his fit with Ja. He's getting paid a ton of money, so maybe they want to move off of that contract. And we'll get into that a little bit later because I happen to know a team with a large expiring contract. And spoiler alert, it's Kyle Lowry in the Miami Heat. But like I said, we're going to get into that. But Marcus Smart is a guy that, I will be honest, I have not been nice to over the last several years. But that's mostly just because he was a Boston Celtic, and it's F Boston for life, as Udonis Haslem would say. Now, I'm not going to say F Bill Russell, like UD said on his podcast with Mike Miller, but it's F Boston for life. So it is what it is. But this season, Marcus Smart's actually not playing that well. I got his numbers up here. He's at 14 points, almost 5 assists, and almost 3 rebounds a night. But his 3-point shooting is terrible. And that's for him, it's terrible. Because for his career, he's around 32, 33%. But he's sitting right at 30% this year. But even worse, he's at 42% from the field, which is not good. Well, I guess it's, again, better for him because he's shooting 39% from the field for his career. So all that to say that just overall, he's generally not a very efficient player, which is not something that I typically like on the Heat because you got the star guys, right? You kind of just want the other guys to be efficient and do their role. You don't want them to be chuckers, which Marcus Smart has a tendency to do some of the time. However, he is phenomenal on the defensive end. Now, he's a fraudulent defensive player of the year. I'm on record saying that. Everybody knows that. I mean, Tyler Hero gave that boy 37 in the Eastern Conference Finals. So DPOY my ass. But he still is a very good defender. And that's the reason that I would really, really love him on this Heat team, particularly next to Tyler Hero, who obviously has his flaws on the defensive end. And if you have a guy like Marcus Smart next to him, well then, hey, Tyler Hero could just worry about getting buckets, doing what he does best, and doesn't have to worry about, getting hunted on the defensive end because you would have Marcus Smart to cover up for a lot of that stuff. Because right now, I mean, Tyler Hero's running mate in the backcourt is Kyle Lowry, who is great at drawing charges and great at, stripping the ball when guys go up. But outside of that, he's just not very fast on the defensive end anymore. And his better days on the defensive side of the ball are behind him. Now, Marcus Smart, aside from the defense, he can initiate the offense a little bit, which is kind of what I think I'm most looking to add to this Heat team outside of some size, because a lot of the names that we'll talk about in future videos, the main one people say is Tyus Jones, who I absolutely love. He's the epitome of a high assist, low turnover guy. We talked about Monty Morris in a previous video. That's the kind of style of guy that I like. Now, obviously, Marcus Smart is not that, but he's still a guy that's shown he can distribute the ball. When I said earlier that he was having sort of a down season, that's the case here also because he does have 4.5 assists, but that comes with 3.2 turnovers, where in the 3 years prior to this one, Marcus Smart was very close to a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, which is very, very good. So when you're looking for point guards, somebody with a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio is considered very good, very great. That being said, Tyus Jones is like 5-to-1, but well, like I said, he's for another video. But I do like Marcus Smart fit with this team because of the defense side of the ball. Now, let's go ahead and get into his contract situation, which, as I said earlier, he has this season and 2 more years after that. So he's essentially around $18 to $21 million each year for the next 3 years. So it is a substantial amount of money, but it is $8 to $10 million less than what a guy like DeJounte Murray is making, another guy that I made a video about. Now, it's really up to you to decide whether, or I guess it's up to the Heat, but as a fan, when you're watching this video, it's up to you to decide if a guy like DeJounte Murray is $8 to $10 million a year better than Marcus Smart, or I guess if Marcus Smart is even worth, $18, $19 million a season for the next 3 seasons, including this one. Now, a guy like Tyus Jones, I will say, is only making $14 million, but he's an expiring contract after this season, so he's a guy that you're probably going to have to re-up. And when you re-up him, he may be in these terms like guys like Marcus Smart have, or even more, just because as the CBA grows, guys get paid more and more with each new contract that they sign. Now, before I get into my trade package for the Miami Heat landing Marcus Smart, I want to talk about what the Grizzlies actually gave up to get him. Now, it was a 3-team deal. Essentially, it was the Kristaps Porzingis trade to go to the Boston Celtics. And all that the Grizzlies gave up when you look at this trade is basically Tyus Jones and 2 first-round picks. So that's kind of important to keep in mind here when I go into the trade package, because it kind of does help answer the question, why would the Grizzlies trade Marcus Smart? Yes, this season is over, but they have him for 2 more years, but maybe they can get a decent haul for him, which is what I think this trade is. So to just kind of recap it here, I have the Miami Heat receiving Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose, and John Konchar, and sending over Kyle Lowry, Nikola Jovic, and a first-round pick. Now, from the Heat perspective, obviously Marcus Smart's fit, I just talked about for a few minutes earlier. The other 2 guys are to make the money work. John Konchar, shooting guard, not sure he'd play much on this team, but maybe Derrick Rose is a guy that could get some run. He's 35 years old. He is currently week to week with a hamstring. Shocking, I know. But he has played 17 games this year for the Grizzlies, even starting 7 of them. He's averaging 8 points a night. He's obviously not a great 3-point shooter or anything like that, but he is what he is. And part of what he is a very experienced, high IQ quality backup point guard at this stage of his career. And currently, I mean, he does have actually another year left on his contract as well after this season. So he's not a guy that wants to be sitting in Memphis with a wasted season this year. Let him come to Miami. Let him try to win a ring. I think he would really like it here. And I think the Miami Heat could use him as, if they're losing Kyle Lowry, they're at least getting back, a veteran point guard with experience that has kind of seen everything in this league except the championship. And maybe he can get one here. Now, on the Memphis Grizzlies side, they are getting Kyle Lowry, who is still a high IQ veteran point guard. Maybe he can mentor somebody there, but really his best asset at this point is his expiring contract. I mean, he's making almost $30 million this year. That's a lot of money to come off the books for them, and maybe they can get someone better, somebody that they like more to fit that team instead of Marcus Smart, who was having a very, very down year this season. So maybe they want to move on from him. Kyle Lowry, I think, is the best way to do that. And they're also getting, which might be the best centerpiece of this trade for them, is Nikola Jovic, right? And a first-round pick just to kind of, wrap up that trade. So in total, they're getting Kyle Lowry, Nikola Jovic, and a first-round pick. Now, Nikola Jovic is where a lot of Heat fans are going to start commenting on this video saying, no, I don't do the deal. I don't like it. And I may be with you. I'm going to give my thoughts on this trade when I'm done explaining why I think both teams might do it. But Nikola Jovic is a guy that has been playing very, very well for the Heat since being started into the starting lineup, with Jimmy missing some time and Caleb missing time, Hayward Highsmith missing time. And he's been sort of hit or miss. He's had the games where he's had 5 fouls in 10 minutes, but he's also had the games where he's had, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 or 4 from 3, bringing the ball down the court. All those things that got Heat fans very excited about him when we drafted him. He looks like that 6'10" point guard that has this, superstar potential. You see, I hesitated as I said it, but he just shows the skills in a young kid that you're saying, hey, maybe 5 years from now, he can turn those skills into an amazing player. Kind of like a guy like Alperen Şengün is doing now. Or, Şengün is young himself, and he's already a guy that's averaging like 20, 10, and 5 this season. Imagine what he's going to be doing in another 2-3 years, right? So all that to say, it's pretty clear that Nikola Jovic has a lot of potential. All Heat fans see it. Now, on this Memphis Grizzlies roster, he can finally be that 4 that they're looking for. They've tried with Xavier Tillman. They've tried with Santi Aldama. They've tried with Brandon Clark, who a lot of those guys had some potential, but really haven't progressed the way they hoped they would. Now, currently, they have Jaren Jackson Jr. starting at the 4. Of course, because Steven Adams is out for the year. They do have Bismack Biyombo at the 5. But I do think that Jaren Jackson can kind of be more of a natural 5. They just don't really have a center on the roster right now that will allow, or they don't really have a power forward on the roster right now that will allow Jaren Jackson to play the 5. But if they get Nikola Jovic, I think maybe he could start at that spot. And his fit with Jaren Jackson would be great because, of course, you got Jaren Jackson for the defense and you have Nikola Jovic for the offense. Now, between the both of them, they both could have like 12 fouls and 16 minutes, knowing them. But regardless, I still think the fit is very nice. And of course, a guy like Nikola Jovic fits the timeline of that team very well with the other young guys like John Morant and like Desmond Bane. So in general, if all the Grizzlies gave up to get Marcus Smart was Tyus Jones and 2 first-round picks, well, now they're getting a giant inspiring deal and kind of 2 first-round picks if you want to count Nikola Jovic as a first-round pick. If anything, he might be better than a first-round pick because he's a little bit proven at this point to be a guy that I think has a ton of potential, like I was saying earlier. So that's kind of all I got to say about this trade. I do plan on having other videos in the future. I love the Tyus Jones Kuzma package. I love the Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith package. So let me know down below if one, y'all like this trade. If not, let me know a trade that you think you'd like to see me talk about. That being said, the Heat play the Oklahoma City Thunder tomorrow. So I'll probably have a post-game video about that. So I'll see y'all then. Peace out.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.